Hello everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and today I'm sharing with you a couple of mixed media altered tags I did using die cuts. And I was talking about different ways to use die cuts, and I started out with this set of nesting stars, and I was decided to make tags because they're quick and easy and I could make a couple different ones. So I first die cut a tag so that there was a window in it, and then I sprayed these two tags using some Dina Wakley Gloss Spray in the color Night, and it made a really interesting effect on the manila shipping tag. I guess that is a coated paper, and it came out kind of splotchy, but it was perfect for what I was doing, which is making kind of a night sky look. Then I took a white pin and I was going around the edges so that my star window would show over the top of the other tag. And then I thought, oh, well, another way you can use a die is to use it as a template. So I just put the next larger size die up in the nesting star set and drew with my white Posca pin around. And then I could get like a double lined star when you put it over the other top. Over the top of the other one. I also needed to spray the back of this one, and I'm not sure when I got to that, but I needed it to be colored on the back side too. So then another way you can use a die is to cut a piece of paper, and of course you can use those pieces that you cut out as pieces of your composition, but you can also use the leftover paper either as a piece of your composition or as a stencil. So I have this other cutout piece that I'm going to use as a stencil. But before I do that, I want something to be able to peek through the little window. And so I'm using one of the pieces that I cut and gluing that down on the inside tag. And then you'll be able to see it through the front tag, if that makes sense. It's kind of like a little open shut window situation going on here. So that's glued down. I'm still trying to decide what to do, and I decided I better put some more stars in the sky because there's not just one, right? There's millions. So I got out some titanium white paint in this part of the paper that's left over after you die cut, and I'm using that as a stencil to stencil some stars over my dark background, different sizes. I tried out all the different sizes of the die. So this particular die is from In Love Arts, and I will put a link to their online store. They have a ton of thin dies like this that you can use in your die cutting machine, and they're inexpensive. They take a while to get here because they're coming from overseas, but they are really, really well priced as opposed to paying the prices that you might get in the States. Some of these dies can be really expensive. So then I decided on the inside of the tag where it will open up, I better put some stars on there. So I glued a couple of the other stars I'd cut out on there. And then I need to make a way for this to open like a card kind of. And I, of course, need to stick them together somehow. So I got out this really thin, really, really sticky tape. It's sticky. I mean, if there's something that you want to stick together, that's going to stick it forever. If you try to pull it off, it'll tear it. I mean, it's really sticky. And I put some of that above the star cutout and below the star cutout. And then I lined them up, put them one on top of another, and burnished them down to make sure that they were well stuck. And then in order to have a hinge for it to open, I needed to score it. So I used a ruler and a ball tool to score it so that it would be able to open. Now it has a little area where it can open and shut. So that's how I dealt with that. Another idea might have been to use some washi tape and tape it all along the side. But since I had die cut it and I had that big hole in it, it wasn't as easy to tape it all the way down as a hinge. So that worked. Then I decided I wanted some color on this, and so I have some other colors of gloss sprays from Dina Wakley, and I'm using the turquoise, the magenta, and I think the lemon to just kind of splatter, because stars are kind of like splatters in the sky, and sometimes when you're looking at one, it has a color to it. It kind of shines a color, especially if it's a planet. You'll get kind of a weird reflective color off of it. So I splattered some different colors on there, just using the plastic um, inside, the straw inside. Take off the cap, lift it up, flick it, and it makes really nice splatters. So then I wanted to make some color on my central star, and I also wrote the words "Starlight, Starbright, first star I've seen tonight. I wish I may," and then on the inside it says, "I wish I might have this wish I wish tonight." So I wrote it around the outside of the star. And then now I'm just adding some watercolor in the same colors as I used the sprays, the magenta, the lemon yellow, and a turquoise, which is in this case phthalo green. And I added those colors to a few of the stars, as well as the main star, which is the one I'm wishing on. Because you only wish on one star, right? So just adding some color. Then I added some splatters on the inside as well with those same 3 colors of gloss spray. They went over the top of the other color without blending in. If it was, I think it's acrylic based spray, because if it was a water based spray, the dark color underneath and the color that I put over the top would have blended together. Of course, the dark one was already dry, but still, you can definitely see the colorful splatters over the top of the dark color without any type of bleeding together. So these are interesting sprays. They're different. I haven't played with them that much, but they're very different from all the other types of sprays I have. I think I have 5 colors of them, so I'll be messing around with them. Really giving them a workout here eventually. Oh, here I am showing the different colors of spray, and people kept asking me what I was doing. By the way, this video is filmed on a secondary camera during the Art Joy Sharing live stream show. And this is a speed up voiceover version of that show. So here I am just showing how I splattered onto a piece of white paper so that you could see the colors, because of course it's pretty far away, and you won't be able to really see it well until you look at the close-ups at the end. But they were asking in the chat during the live stream about what I was doing, so I showed again what I was doing because I wasn't really talking very much. So then I went ahead, trimmed the corner. Oh, I put a backing piece of paper cardstock on there because I like to do that. I trimmed the corners, I punched the hole all the way through the 3 layers, but then I'm only going to attach the fibers, or in this case ribbons, to the front hole, because if I put them through all the holes, it would tie the tag shut, and I want it to be able to open. I want it to be interactive. So I just put it through the front one, and you can't tell until you open it that it's not through all of them. And here I am just cleaning up with a white pin some of the stenciled stars, giving them a little bit of a harder edge. And I think that is about it for this tag. I have another tag on the desk that I started last week on the live stream show. We were talking about mediums, and I was testing out some medium, and I put them on a tag, and then sometime later I sprayed some of those gloss sprays on there just to see how it would react with the medium, which it reacted very well. You can see that I also added a little bit of black Stabilo around some of the raised shapes. It was a stencil called Marrakesh, I think. And so I decided to finish this tag with some die cuts because I already had just, a background done. So all these die cuts were already pre-done, pre-cut. Most of them, not all of them, I think 90% of them are from Happy Mail that Lori M sent me. And she likes to send me die cuts, and I'm happy because I don't have that many dies. So when someone sends me die cuts, I'm always excited, and I try to keep them organized. I need a better system of organizing them, but she has them in these little folded up pieces of wax paper that have what's inside kind of written on it. So then I just have them all in this plastic box, and I can flip through and see. Another set that she sent me had everything separated in envelopes, and some of those are in there too. But I pulled out some leaves and some like round shapes and kind of a swirly, interesting different things that I thought might be fun on this tag to make kind of like a die cut collage, which is something that I like to do. Don't just put one thing on there, put a ton of things on there. Why not? Just stack them up. I mean, if you have the dies and you have the machine and you have all, you should use them as much as you can, and I don't use them as much as I can. So, I decided I needed to spray some of these. I sprayed the little circular swirly thing with the lemon yellow, and then I took all the leaf pieces that were white, and I sprayed them with the olive and the cheddar colors. These are all colors that are in the background, so um, it was a good way to color them up. And that box, by the way, is just a box that I've cut one side down and I've lined it with wax paper so that I can use it as a spray or splat box, because sometimes when you're using sprays, you get them all over your desk and all over your phone and all over your computer and all over your glue and your spray bottle, and whatever you have on your desk gets splattered. So it's a good way to keep your sanity. Also, you end up with some nice, if you put some deli paper in there when you're throwing in the things to spray, you'll end up with some nice under paper that you can stencil over and make some collage parts or something. So then I took my glue sponge and glued all these little elements down, making kind of a spray. One of them was already a burgundy color and the other one was already an orange color. And then the white ones are the ones that I sprayed to do the rest. So I put some going up and some coming down, and then I put this really interesting circle one. I really like that one. That's cool. I've never seen anything like that before. I'm sure it's a pain to weed though, because it has a lot of intricate detail, but it's really cool, kind of a medallion or something. And then I put the yellow swirly one over the top, and then I needed a focal image. And I was looking in my box here of all the things I set aside for my butterfly journal. And I was looking at different butterfly die cuts. I cut out some. I got some from Rennie and I got some from Peg. And I was trying out different things to see if I could make a focal image. And then when I looked in the envelope from Peg, I found these butterflies that it's when you get a stamp, a rubber stamp or silicone stamp, and a die that match, which is just brilliant. Back in the day when I was a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, they didn't have anything like that. I would have loved that. I didn't have a die cut machine or anything back then, but wow, it cuts it out for you. But this particular one, around the body and the antenna of the butterfly weren't cut in, so I did need to trim those out a little bit because I wanted to have the butterfly be able to have its wings lifted up. So then I decided to just go ahead and watercolor with my same watercolor set. This is a blend of Daniel Smith, Core, Lucas, I don't know. There's several different types of more higher end watercolors in this set. And then I have this big chart that shows me what they are, and I can figure out, okay, when I pick a color, I can count down from the top to make sure that I pick the right color watercolor, because they're a lot darker in some cases than what they look like. So I decided to use the serpentine green from Daniel Smith in the center, and then I was using some sienna color on the outside and then filling in with orange and yellow on the inside. But then I decided at the end to use a really dark alizarin crimson. I love saying that, alizarin crimson. Almost sounds like lizard. I don't know, but I like the name of it. But it on the outer edges of the wings looked really nice. And I did that because I had that one red sprig standing up that was from one of the die cuts. And so I thought I needed to add that color somewhere else in the composition. So then I gave it a good dry so that I could move on to the next step with my heat tool. And I wanted it to have a sparkle. I think fairy wings and butterfly wings should have sparkle because they have those little like scales on them. Like if you ever have seen a butterfly wing in a microscope, it has little scales. And so it makes them shimmery. So I used a Spectrum Noir clear sparkle pen. It has like clear ink with mica in it, and went over the butterfly to give it some shimmer and shine. And then I decided I need a little bit of shading, so I got out a dark gray artist pit pen and went around some of the leaves and things to make some shading on there, just to make it more dynamic. I like to do that. That's just something I do. I just do that pretty much all the time. And then, what else did I do? I think I added some white splatters. Oh, and yeah, I added some white splatters with my Posca pen eventually. I wanted the butterfly wings to be able to stand up, and so I put a little bit of foam tape on the back and then glued down the center of the butterfly flat, and then it helps the wings to stand up a little bit and be more dynamic. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment or question below, subscribe if you haven't already, turn on your notification bells, and of course you can pin this on Pinterest or share it on Facebook. All those things really, really help me help other people to find my channel. If you think that there is valuable content here, that helps. So then I just added some white splatters with my Posca pen, added a few little highlights here and there, because, hey, I always do the Posca pen, right? Always, always, almost always. When I don't, people comment, why didn't you use the white Posca pen? Were you crazy? So then I found a piece of burgundy cardstock to mount this on, glued it down with some tacky glue, trimmed off the edges, punched the hole, and I added some ribbon and sari yarn or whatever it is, torn up silk saris that they make into yarn, and then some gold cord. And that was it for this tag. So yeah, creativity with your die cuts. Make sure that you just use them. That's probably the best thing. Just get them out and use them. I don't do it enough, and I sure have a lot of them because I've been given tons. Plus, I have dies that I have never even opened. It's embarrassing how many of that I have that I've never even used once. So I need to do it. So that's what our show was about today, and that's what this was about. And I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.